Hey everyone, it's Laser. Day 3, we are playing BradfordLee's Swindler's Market Archer. It's a super fun deck that can do disgusting amounts of damage really quickly, the same way that Burn Assassin can. It's a little bit different in that I think it has better board control because it has a lot of these kind of wounded effects like the Leaf Lurker and the 2 copies of Finish Off. And also it has about the same amount of draw because it's still running the same kind of green cards. But it gets to run a little bit more removal. Cauterize is slightly more effective than Forked Bolt for having board control. And Afflicted Alit kind of makes up for a little bit of the raw damage potential that you're missing from not being able to run things like Lightning Bolt and the Little Angel Hexmage. That said, this still does absolute units amounts of work. It's really fun to play. It's kind of complicated. I'm not really great at it. But the other day I was practicing and I beat Fierce Infinity with it, who is a very high-ranking player who finishes well in tournaments routinely, so can't be that bad, right? The one really interesting thing in this build that I want to highlight is the Silver Gnar Tracker. It's really easy to get an enemy creature into the wounded state in this deck between Earthbone Spinners and the Cauterizes and the Curses and Rapid Shots. There's a lot of ways to activate this. So 3 damage charge is a lot. That is the same as having a Nord along with a Northwind Outpost and a Swindler's Market, or any of those sorts of buff effects. So it's basically like having another ping effect with a couple buffs on top of it, just as this one-off inclusion as a kind of equivalent of a Lightning Bolt, but it's only 2 Magicka, so it ends up being pretty cheap and you can use it pretty often. So yeah, that's the deck we're going to go with. It's a cool one that's gotten a good amount of attention because CVH posted a Market Assassin or Market Archer list pretty early in the Alliance War cycle so far. And then kind of lost traction as Market Assassin picked up, but Bradford Lee decided to bring this instead, which I thought was super cool, so we're going to give it a run. Alright, going to get into a game with Bradford Lee's Market Archer. Going against a sorcerer, probably going to be aggressive, which is kind of bad for us. Aggressive decks are really good against market decks. No, we really just want to go for draw. Northwind Outpost is nice for a little bit of extra damage, but really we want those markets. Debilitate is really nice. That means that we can potentially get a board clear a little bit later. And Debilitate is specifically good against Sorcerer because they have a lot of warded creatures, and that means that our pinging abilities such as Rapid Shot or Nord Firebrand attacks don't really amount to anything. So raw stat reduction is much more effective against Sorcerer. Against blue-purple decks in general. So a lot of other things like Daggerfall Covenant it's really good against. Telvanni mid-range and aggro it's really good against. Thieves Guild Recruit does just fine into that. Cauterize probably won't be huge, but it could help because it can proc up off of Debilitate even if they still have a ward. So that's kind of cool. Interesting. Okay. Sorcerer has comparatively little support removal. And even if they run any, it's going to be either Vicious Dreg, which is still unlikely, or Shadowfen Priest, which is a turn or 2 off. So at least a turn or 2. Bleak Coast Troll. So we actually have a good amount to do this turn. It's not quite go off yet, because each Firebrand, if Orclan Captain is on board, represents 3 damage. So you have 3, 6, 9, 10, 11 damage total, which is not, it's not a lot. We're going to go for that. I think we're actually going to curse now? No, because we want to leave that so that Debilitate gets as large as possible, or as reduced in cost as possible. 8 cards in hand, we're going to take 5, 7, 9, so we would lose 2 runes, we would go to 10, so we need to play 1 card. We'll curse that down. which shows that we have probably Debilitate in hand because we're not cursing the Ward Crafter, but that's okay. It's not too big of a deal. What we're really looking for is a Spoils of War. Spoils of War would be huge. Hey, look at that.
I will have your head.
So we're gonna try to go off this turn. You probably won't be able to go fully off, like 0 to 100, kill them in one turn kind of go off. That sucks a lot. Guards are very, very good against us. There's not a lot that we can do against guards. So we're actually going to try and clear the board with Debilitate before we go off. Right now we have a Vol Clear. And I think that's probably just fine. So the board's cleared. We have very good card advantage. I'm actually going to be a little slow right now. Try and get either Northwind Outpost or preferably a second market would be great. Okay, he's going to bolt us. Okay, let's do some stuff. So each of these counts for 3 damage. And the spoils now. See what we get. Close call is fantastic.
Let's do this. Attack.
Seeing as he is an aggressive deck, there's very low probability of him running any AoE. And let's actually just run this down now for that exact same reasoning. If he was playing a more controlling style deck, we'd be much more hesitant to have gone all in with a bunch of 1 health creatures. However, given that really all he's indicated he would have to get in our way is guards, I think we're probably pretty okay. Okay, a negation means we were probably correct in our assumption that he has no AoE. We also have shadow marking to refuel, find either another market, maybe another couple 0 drops, things, another spoils maybe. We got plenty of things to draw into to end this game, even if he could clear the board, which I don't think he can. Yep, double negation. And a Daggerfall Mage. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We do have lethal. I will go for the shadow marking first, just to see if we can get something a little easier. Raiding Party makes it very trivial. And we had lethal anyway. Cool. That went well. So I think that was very enabled by the fact that we got to put the Swindler's Market down relatively uncontested, and the fact that we knew we weren't going to be going up against any sort of AoE, so we felt okay pretty blatantly overextended. So, well.